Tonight, alleged fraudsters have been nabbed for allegedly impersonating a well-known boat captain.
My son said he doesn't know what's really taking place. He don't know anything about what these guys. He never give these guys any information.
Fire officers returned to work following strike action, but say they are keeping a close eye for the fulfillment of promises made by the government. And the traffic flow improvement program commences, much to the ire of Groseley Minibus Association members. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
It is Monday, the 25th of March, 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM 105.5 and 105.9, www.caribbeanhottv.com, and on our mobile app. I'm lovely Saint Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Well, a couple of alleged fraudsters are now in police custody after being reportedly caught using the identity of a well-known boat captain and a former chairman of the Ironola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, Aaron Alexander. The identity theft victim spoke to Hot 7 News about the ordeal. Rochelle Gonzalez begins our reporting.
The victims of an alleged scam have sung the praises of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and the City Police following the arrest of a couple whom they claimed were behind their ordeal of fraud and identity theft. John James said the alleged fraudsters played on his paternal instincts and used his son, who resides in Martinique, to siphon hundreds of dollars from him. James said the scammers left him with no choice but to do as he was told.
Yesterday I had a call about 7 o'clock in the morning and telling me that my son is in some serious problem in Martinique and they need some finance to put his documents together, or else my son will be coming back in a body bag. So I told them, what's wrong with my son? Can I speak to him? He said he's somewhere in the heights, you can't speak to him now. So I said, well, look, how do I know that my son is in problem? He said, look, you don't have confidence in me. If you cannot do as I say right now, you'll be in serious problem. My son will be in serious problem. So then I didn't have a choice but to comply with his rules and regulation. He told me that, look, I need $200 immediately in an envelope, sealed envelope, like this one. The sealed envelope, yeah, like this envelope, with $200 in it. So I brought it to Bullvest Bar yesterday about 9 o'clock. They came and collected about 10:40 yesterday morning. So after that, I got a call back from him. I need some top-up. And I needed to put some top-up for me immediately, or else my son will be in problem. So I said, well, okay. I left what I was doing. I was at work. I left my work in place, and I run and put top-up for him. I put $40 for him. I went to the car park supermarket. I put $40 for him.
James said shortly after, he got a call once again demanding another $200, this time to be delivered to the north of the island. This, he said, was when skepticism got the better of him and he dug further, only to find out that his son was in no danger and completely unaware of what was being communicated to his father. James said the next step was to get the law involved.
The officers told me, well, they will work with me to get that culprit. So last night he was supposed to pick up another $200 from me. He called me and he told me he couldn't get somebody to pick up the money. So he told me first thing in the morning, I will call you. He called me at 5 o'clock this morning to pick up the money. 5 o'clock, I told him, well, I was still resting, so I will get my guys to bring the $200 to the shop for him. So it happened at about 7 o'clock. I called the police. I called Captain Aaron. I say, are you the one calling me for that money? He told me, no, I don't know this guy. So Captain Aaron came down, and we got the city police together, and we actually monitor the whole operation of he and the lady.
An irate and frustrated Aaron Alexander was also present and told Hot 7 News that this matter, where his name was being used to swindle money from unsuspecting St. Lucians, had been going on for at least 6 months. Alexander said when he received the call about the latest scam, it left him in a state of distress. He was full of praise for the swift action taken by police.
The police was able to nab the woman and an accomplished gentleman in the scam there this morning in Castries. So I want to applaud City Police for the quick action. When I went to them and told them what was happening, they immediately moved in and they nabbed the individuals, a woman and a man who's involved in that scam. And I'm looking forward to ensuring that this whole scam thing is a thing of the past. And I want to ensure people out there that I'm not involved in any kind of scam like that whatsoever. And one of the famous numbers they are using to call people is 518-4305. They also have another number using 718-1961. That's 718-1961. These are the fraudulent numbers. My number, Captain Aaron number, is 723-9763. So if you get a call from any of those fraud numbers, 718-1961 or 518-4305, just know that it's a scam and do not take these people on.
Alexander hopes that this matter does not affect his budding tour business. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Thank you, Rochelle. The fire service strike is over. Chairman of the Fire Service Association, Shane Felix, notes that while not all members may be in agreement with the return to work, majority rules. The chairman notes that a close eye will be kept on the employer to ensure that timelines of the requests are met and both parties can move forward without raising any more fires.
Some measure of resolve has been brought to the industrial impasse between the St. Lucia Fire Service and the government. Fire officers needed a 10-day strike on Monday. Chairman of the St. Lucia Fire Service Association, Shane Felix, says some progress is being made in addressing the concerns of members. He explained that the implementation of the request for the removal of contracts for members on probation will move forward.
So the Ministry of Home Affairs, in the letter, informed the association that they've removed those contracts and probationers are now going to be on a 2-year temporary appointment, after which they're going to be assessed through an exam which is going to be administered by the department itself. So that is an achievement for our probationers that we're happy about. And by that concession, we agreed to report in for duty on this, Friday, 22nd March.
Furthermore, Felix added that a letter was sent out informing the Prime Minister of St. Lucia of the decision taken by the members to end their protest action. In addition, that letter highlighted 5 key measures that the members also wanted resolved at the soonest.
So we're asking for him to carry on with that commitment, to implement those things. We've given timelines on those, and to also ask that those commitments be placed in a cabinet conclusion moving forward. Having achieved that, we're hoping that within the timelines that we can work to achieve those various things that we've agreed upon. And we've also said in the letter that we would reassess our position beyond those things and to determine how best to move forward, what kind of strategy that we are going to employ in terms of making sure that we work together to achieve those things.
Felix expressed that although some resolution is seen as an achievement, all members of the St. Lucia Fire Service Department were not pleased. However, according to him, the FSA intended to give the employer the benefit of the doubt and return a sense of normalcy to the Fire Service Department.
I need to be frank with this. Some officers are not in agreement that we reported in for duty. They're saying that the government is still not true to this. And as much there is some semblance of that, I said to them that if we're doing this in good faith, we have to show some concession, just as the Ministry of Home Affairs did. And so that was the purpose for us reporting in for duty. But generally, of course, there was a vote on the decision, and officers voted in majority for us to report in for duty, and hence the reason why we are here.
The chairman says the ball is now in the government's court. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Thank you, Solange. Meanwhile, the fire service had to make do with insufficient staff over the weekend when responding to 59 emergency calls. Assistant Divisional Officer David Antoine informed that a sense of normalcy had still not yet returned during that time.
On the weekend of March 23rd to the 25th, the St. Lucia Fire Service responded to 59 ambulance calls, including 52 medical emergencies. These medical emergencies included 4 motor vehicle accidents and 2 physical assaults. On the 24th of March 2019, at approximately 8:35 a.m., Fire officers from the Richmond Fire Station responded to a motor vehicle accident on the Richmond Highway involving a van and a pedestrian. The pedestrian was assessed and treated on scene and subsequently transported to the Denny Polyclinic. On the 23rd of March, at approximately 12:55 p.m., fire officers from the Denny Fire Station responded to another motor vehicle accident on the Richmond Highway involving a motor car that seemed to have lost control and ran off the road and toppled over. The driver, who was the sole occupant of that vehicle, was assessed and treated on scene and subsequently transported to the Denny Polyclinic.
In addition, Antoine says the management of the St. Lucia Fire Service is satisfied and relieved by the return of its officers to their normal duties.
I think we are very happy as management and as a country to see that the firemen have already returned to work, and at least those emergencies that we experienced over the weekend, that they could have been responded to in a timely fashion, where there were persons on staff to have made those responses. And we experienced very little delay as the other incidents that took place over the period of the protest action. So that overall improved.
Antoine did not wish to comment on a recent incident of an emergency fire situation which involved the property of a fire service officer during the protest action. In other news, Catherine Seelys is calling on the government of St. Lucia to pass regulations regarding the number of pop-up churches which have been rapidly set up around the island. The Raise Your Voice St. Lucia president voiced her concerns following news of the arrest of a Nigerian pastor based in St. Lucia who was arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting a member of his congregation. Rochelle Gonzalez tells us more.
The president of advocacy group Raise Your Voice St. Lucia is taking the government to task over the seemingly rapid rise of churches being established around different parts of the island. Catherine Seelys has raised concerns after the recent arrest of a Nigerian pastor who was accused of sexually assaulting a female member of his congregation. The pastor was arrested at the Huronora International Airport trying to leave the island. Seelys said her concerns are not leveled at any one specific religion, as they all face internal issues.
My thoughts on this is that we have a number of churches popping up all over the place, grooming people, grooming women, grooming young people, not only to take their financial resources, their assets and whatnot, but there's a lot of sexual abuse and sexual exploitation going on in those churches. And I think it is time that the government of St. Lucia decide there needs to be some kind of regulation, some kind of oversight on those churches. Not only do they groom people, they take away their assets, they manipulate them. There's a lot of sexual assault and all kinds of things being reported. I do not believe there is enough oversight, and I do not believe there is enough regulation on this. I think if people are using church as a business now, they should be treated as a business.
Where sexual assault is concerned, Seelys said this has been a consistent issue which needs urgent attention.
I think the attention that it deserves is not being given. There is no set guidelines. Women are always on the back foot to provide evidence and be in the limelight, to be present and say yes and answer some very invasive questions. I think a lot has to be done, including the revision of the section of the criminal code that deals with sexual assault and rape. And while we're on the subject, it is time that the government of St. Lucia remove references to sex with minor and rape of minor. Because if you're not going to give consent, it's rape. Why are we calling it sex with a child and sex with a minor? It is time that the government of St. Lucia look at this thing closely and make some serious changes, because it is becoming a real problem.
Due to the nature of the crime, Hot 7 News is unable to reveal the identity of the pastor and the church which he led. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
The president of the Grocery Minibus Association is taking the Ministry of Transport to task for works on the recent installation of signage that bars the grocery bus drivers from using the Bois de Wash bypass road. Danny Edwards says that this restriction is further compounding the traffic situation in the north. Solange Alfred reports.
Getting from point A to B in the most efficient manner is of top priority to President of the Grosley Minibus Association, Danny Edward. According to Edward, A huge blow has been handed down to grocery bus drivers. The president relayed information to Hot 7 News, informing that a recent installation of signage now bars drivers from using the bypass road in Bois-de-Wages, which, according to him, significantly cuts down on the amount of time drivers take to get to their various locations.
We wrote to the commissioner, we CC'd the letter to the grocery police station along with the transport officer. We even had a meeting with the transport officer requesting for minibus drivers to utilize this back road on the rush hour between 7 and 9. We never got a response from the commissioner, neither the transport officer. But today, this morning, what we see is a sign, the opposite of what we request, saying that no end plates. So you're going to allow trucks, private vehicles to pass this road, and you're going to force the minibus drivers to stay along the highway where the situation. We're providing a service, and our main goal is to take up the passengers from Castries at a very short space of time.
For their part, the Ministry of Transport has implored bus drivers to adhere to their routes. This, Edwards says, is an unjust treatment and works against the efficiency of service being provided to the public.
The sign that's erect is very unfair to us. It's one-sided. So we need the authorities to look into this, maybe have some dialogue with us, or if not, we'll have to take some actions. I don't know what the actions may be. We'll have to have some discussion with the drivers, my members, and we'll have to come to a conclusion. But clearly, this sign is not in our best interest.
Edwards says open dialogue with key stakeholders before action was implemented would have been the best route taken. He noted that the suggestion of allowing minibus operators the interval of 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. access was never addressed.
We had discussions with the transport officer, letting us know that it's a pilot project and it's not her doing, because we had some concerns. And she sent us a letter informing us that that's what they're planning to do, to erect a sign. We let her know that sign will not be in our interest. And she told us that she's leaving to go on vacation, and when she gets back, she will inform the board and she will take it from here. But nothing has said to us. I know she's back at work. I had discussion with her since she's been back. Nothing related to that. And this morning we're just saying the sign is there, and I find it's just not in our interest.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Transport has informed that 3 upcoming meetings will be held with key stakeholders, with the first meeting intended to carry discussions with business owners within the vicinity of the bypass road area. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. When we come back, more concern is expressed about the meeting of the U.S. President with Caribbean leaders, this time from Dr. Ralph Gonzalez. Efforts intensify to ban sweet poisons, and communities are rolling up their sleeves to ensure health and safety. Stay with us.